too, actually.
I probably wait a couple minutes.
Oh, they're streaming. So we're streaming. We're
We've
on
probably
the
been streaming for
YouTubes.
about 10 minutes.
No, we haven't. It's starting. It's whirring. It's whirring. YouTube.
Actually, it doesn't. It's really cool.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
Then we'll do our intro. Oops. I did that wrong. We're saying see you later.
Oh, really?
I'm a hot mess. There we go. There's our real intro.
That's
Then we want to do that. Okay. 3, 2, 1, and cutting now. There we are.
all right.
We're on.
Matt, you got info today.
Welcome everybody to Tuesdays at 2. I mean, this is what I read in the Bible today.
Choose the
what is
way.
Today's on January.
Choose the way.
Choose the way.
Yeah.
It's uneducated, where a couple of dummies are given the keys to some hardware, and we get on here and jibber jabber.
That's true.
We have our special guest Brian from a remote location. He's afraid to get the COVID, so he's locked down. He's actually advising Mike DeWine directly.
I will be on an interview later this afternoon.
Yeah, perfect. You let him know he's doing a fine job, and if he could just tell me when my meal times are, I think my life would be complete.
Well, I think what'll happen is eventually you'll only be allowed one meal time.
Right.
The
Well,
whole
just so I have to stand in line for a really long time to get that meal, I think we're really achieving something.
Well, yeah, that'd be good. So how
What are
was
we
your
going to talk
Thanksgiving?
about today?
Well, I was asking about how your Thanksgiving was.
Oh, my Thanksgiving was good. Kind of had to switch up in plans last minute. We were going to do the camping thing, and then that kind of got rained out, cold out. Plans changed. So we went over to my aunt and uncle's house and hung out with them, and we hung out with them most of the day. So it was a good day. It was relaxing. It's always something to have a meal, and then like 4 adults go crash on a couch. It's kind of weird.
That
And the
malaise.
kids are playing Legos and watching Christmas movies.
Nice. Okay, so what was the deal? You texted me last night. I tried to watch the second. What was it called? The Christmas Chronicles
Christmas
Part
Chronicles 2.
Okay, Nathan came down, started watching it. Then he wanted it to be shut off because he didn't think it was that great.
He watched it though.
But he was watching it. I was like not paying attention to it after a while. But I think I was getting why you wanted me to watch it. Was
Yeah.
the portrayal of Santa Claus? Was he like the savior?
It would appear that they had the gospel message as Santa in the North Pole. And I asked myself, I'm like, because I think that Kurt Russell and his wife, Goldie Hawn, I think they are conservative. I don't know if they are Christian or not. I mean, who knows? But you have to ask yourself, okay, in some weird way, like who was the author who wrote Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe?
C.S. Lewis.
Yeah, in a C.S. Lewis weird way, is this okay? Because
Yeah,
it's
right.
a portrayal of a picture using terminology that only people understand anymore. I don't know. Either that or it was completely blasphemous.
Well, I like the portrayal of the elf that turned human, which that would be Satan, I think, right?
Yeah, he definitely was a Satan character. I mean, that was the undeniable thing. Like, they went out of a way to say, I want to be you, but I want to do it over here now. It definitely was Satan saying, I'm going to be as good as you.
Yeah. I didn't get to the end. Did the elf get saved or anything? Did he?
Yes.
Or did he continue to be bad?
That is where it would go off the rails.
Okay.
The elf became an elf again because he believed.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
Well, maybe Satan is going to rewrite the Bible because it doesn't appear that he's going to.
I mean, if you're not serving Christ, you're serving Satan. You're selfish. You want what you want, and you want to be God. So maybe he was just portraying a human who was lost and then became an elf again.
That's possible. Possible.
I'm really sticking up for these movies because I like them.
Yeah. And I got a feeling, too, your whole family watched that one together, right? Was that a family Christmas movie?
Yeah, well, we watched it Wednesday night when it came out.
Oh, it just came out.
Yeah, Wednesday it opened up. So, my girls were ready to go. They were on this.
It was cool. It was a neat family movie. You know what I thought was happening? Like, I thought I was going to see something. Like, I was trying to figure out why you wanted me to watch it, because when I started watching, I'm like, I think Matt knows this probably isn't something that I'd probably be watching normally. But so I think I thought, well, there has to be a message here. And I know this sounds really horrible, but this is the day and age we live in. When they took the two kids into their bedroom and stuff, and they were going to read them a story, I literally thought maybe there was going to be some Epstein Island stuff going on in it.
No,
I know that sounds really terrible. No, I'm serious. I thought you were, because, Hollywood, I mean, you never know. There's this underlying issues in their movies trying to subliminally,
I think that there is a bastion of decent people in Hollywood. And like I said, if I'm not mistaken, I think Kurt Russell and Goldie Hawn are two of those that, they can't openly say anything, otherwise they'll be blacklisted. But, they're conservative, probably lean towards Christian values, and want to get a good message out.
Yeah, no, I get that. And I was just trying to figure it out. And then I'm pretty sure I came to the conclusion what, you had talked about the whole
you nailed
and
it.
Jesus,
You nailed
Star
it.
of Bethlehem. It was good.
Her daughter is How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days.
So April says that Goldie Hawn's daughter is the How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days girl. Do you know what her name is? Hudson.
Not off the
Kate
top of my
Hudson.
head. Kate Hudson.
Is Kate Hudson? That's Goldie Hawn's daughter, right?
Yeah.
Isn't she the one that
She-
said,
she-
I'm going to let my child...
She's the lady who said here about 8 months ago that she was going to let her daughter decide what her gender is. And her daughter had
Well,
no
as
one.
you know, your kids, grow up and become not your responsibility anymore and make dumb choices.
That's true. That is
I don't
true.
know. Now we're trying to guess the politics of Hollywood.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we had an okay Thanksgiving. It was good. The four of us stayed home. We didn't break any laws. Although I do think my oldest son, Brian, he was out after 10. Am I allowed to say that on air?
He was out after 10. Did he
Yeah.
buy liquor at a bar when you're not supposed to? That would be breaking
I hope
law.
not.
What else?
Oh,
would be
you
breaking
can
law?
be out after 10. You just can't be buying liquor at a bar?
No, I think it's all closed down after 10 now. But up until then, and even now, you can't sell liquor after 10.
Gotcha.
And the
think it has
Pennsylvania governor had no alcohol sales the day before Thanksgiving. Did you see that?
No.
So it so happens that the day before Thanksgiving, statistically, is the biggest bar day in the nation. Because you have the biggest travel days leading up to the holiday. And then so you have to think like, I'm a Cardinal Husky that lives in California, and I go to Middlefield to see the family. Well, the night before, I'm going to go down to the bar so I can see my classmates. And so statistically...
I know exactly who you're talking about.
Yeah. So everybody in Middlefield. So statistically, it's the biggest bar day in the nation. So he closed it down. So Prohibition is back.
That's interesting because there's absolutely no reason to do that because of this thing that's going on.
Wouldn't think so.
Yeah. Oh, boy. Well, one of the things that I sent you a link. I don't know if you had a chance to pull it up and screen share it or anything, but one of the things I was kind of wanted to talk. You could pull it up on a regular, like one of your other screens, and then just screen share through the NDMI link.
Hold on, let me get it going first.
Well, I'll just kind of, can I give a segue into it?
Yeah, go ahead. You get going, and I'm going to find it.
Okay, so we know, at least I'm kind of the persuasion that Donald Trump may very well continue to be president after January. And I thought he was going to win the election, like, period, end of story. I didn't think they were going to actually allow the fraudulent stuff to happen or whatever that they now are claiming that happened and those kind of things. So I didn't think that was even going to be a problem. I thought he was just going to win, like, clear out. However, now as I look at it, I think it may have been a whole plot and plan, because it would make sense that if you were going to do this, it would drum up a lot more drama, and it would make people a lot more angry if they thought their president won, but then he didn't. And so there's a part of me that says the whole thing might be a big play. But my topic here that I want to get into is the religious section of it, and all of these self-proclaimed prophets who have prophesied that Donald Trump will have a second term. Now, if he does get in, definitely they're going to say, see, we're the prophets of God and you need to listen to us. But if he doesn't get in, which, I mean, in my mind, I'm like, I think if the legal stuff shows that he definitely won fairly and all those other votes were fraudulent, then I think he should continue to be president. But if he doesn't win, then what do you do with all those prophets? Because I think what will happen is the prophets are not going to lose their standing among people. They're not going to lose their jobs. They're just going to apologize, like the gentleman from Bethel Church. He's already apologized, but then he recanted his apology because he saw all the lawsuits coming out, and he wasn't going to apologize until after he sees that he's actually wrong now. So we're in some times where the charismatic religious movement, and not just charismatic probably, but the religious movement as a whole, tends to want to claim prophecy things like it's almost like lottery numbers. And when I go back in the Old Testament and even in the New Testament, prophecy always tends to be revealing who God is or revealing the judgments of Israel or God's people. It's not about, I don't see like people just prophets showing up going, hey, Caesar's going to be president next year, or Caesar's going to be Caesar next year. Prophets just didn't do that in the Old Testament and the New Testament that I see. Maybe I could be wrong, but I've never seen that. And so all of a sudden, these new prophets,
didn't one of them have a dream? There were dreams, and they, prophesied that there would be a ruler removed, and then another one put in, but they didn't name names.
That's Daniel and Nebuchadnezzar, that if Nebuchadnezzar would not, or if he claimed what do you call it? If he claimed as if he had done what God had done, and Nebuchadnezzar claimed it as his own, and he was prideful about it, then he would be taken out of power, and for 7 years he would live among the wild beasts. And that prophecy came true because Nebuchadnezzar proudly stood himself up and said, "Oh, look what I've created, look what I've done," when God actually gave it into his hands. So,
Okay.
but again, that's prophecy concerning dreams. That's prophecy concerning the king. That's not just a bunch of different people going around getting on the media going, "God told me that Donald Trump's going to win." I don't know. I don't see it.
All right, so real quickly, NDI desktop capture, right?
Yeah, and then you just pick the screen you want to share.
I have to find it. I couldn't log into my email to find the link.
Oh, really?
I see what's happening. Well, it would be
You found it?
really helpful if... I think that's number 3. Nope. Bad guess.
I know. It's always a guessing game. Which one to share?
Okay. So I'm going to do this real quick. I got to look up the link of what it was called. I'm at the Eternity News.
So anyway, I'm just going to read Deuteronomy chapter 18 just real quick. I'm going to start in verse 15. It says, "The Lord your God will raise up for you a prophet like me." And this is right after he tells them not to go see sorcerers or those who interpret omens or those who practice witchcraft or divination. So he says, you're not supposed to mess with any of that stuff. People who cast spells, mediums, spiritists, people who call up the dead. You're not supposed to go after those. But this is what God says then in verse 15. "The Lord your God will raise up for you a prophet." So he says a prophet, not a bunch of prophets, but a prophet. Like me from among you, from your countrymen. You shall listen to him. This is according to all that you ask of the Lord your God in Horeb on the day of the assembly, saying, "Let me not hear again the voice of the Lord my God, and let me not see this great fire anymore, or I will die." And the Lord said to me, "They have spoken well. I will raise up a prophet from among their countrymen like you, and I will put my words in his mouth, and he shall speak to them all that I command him. It shall come about that whoever will not listen to my words, which he shall speak in my name, I myself will require it of him." Now that verse 19 in itself is interesting, because it appears that the prophet, when he speaks on behalf of God, is not to necessarily proclaim like the lottery numbers for next week or
Right.
who's going to be president. It's the commands of the Lord. He's going to tell you what the Lord requires of you. Then in verse 20, "But the prophet who speaks a word presumptuously in my name, which I have not commanded him to speak, or which he speaks in the name of other gods, that prophet shall die. You may say in your heart, how will we know the word which the Lord has not spoken? Well, when a prophet speaks in the name of the Lord, if the thing does not come about or come true, that is the thing which the Lord has not spoken. The prophet has spoken it presumptuously, and you shall not be afraid of him." Now, there is another text, and I wasn't able to find it last night. I just didn't have time to research it. Well, I shouldn't say I didn't have time. I had time. I just didn't look it up. But there is another text where it talks about just not believing him anymore. He should not be believed anymore. So it's not like he necessarily has to be stoned. Maybe he was to be killed specifically in verse 20 because he was speaking on behalf of other gods. However, if he spoke presumptuously, then you just were not supposed to believe him anymore. Here's my thought. There are tons of these guys out there that are predicting stuff all the time, not just the Trump prophecy, but all kinds of prophecies, and they're not right. and girls.
Okay, so listen. I just cut you
You
out
got
because I
it.
thought I was doing good.
Yeah.
I have to change my box one. Here, I'm gonna do this. So box one. There we go. Now we're doing
Fine, you
it.
cut me out.
No, I got it. See what I got going now?
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
that's the article.
yeah, isn't that what you wanted?
Yep.
So it was Pat Robertson, I'm guessing. I thought it was the Bethel guy.
I don't know. It is the Bethel guy. Pat Robertson actually proclaimed that Trump would win. I don't think he's recanted yet. Pat Robertson's still saying there's hope and it's going to happen.
Okay. It
Which
was the
they may
Bethel
be
guy.
right.
It seemed Bethel Church's Chris Volaton had taken the lead in apologizing for prophecy of victory of President Trump, but now his apology appears to have been deleted from Instagram. So yeah, it was the dude at Bethel.
Yeah,
I don't know.
So he deleted
I guess. Go ahead.
he deleted his apology because he wants to wait and see if he was wrong.
Okay. And I think that I guess I'm not a super big extra biblical knowledge guy anymore. Just because you get the warm and fuzzies about something doesn't mean that you should say it's from God. I think that's pretty big boots to fill.
Oh yeah,
Definitely. I had a dream, and God wants you to buy a Cadillac.
Right.
I'm out. Especially, it seems so trivial that we're prophesying about your fortune, the president. There's nothing spiritual about that. Like, there's nothing.
No.
Wouldn't he be like, listen, everyone, you're going to hell faster than you know. Open up your Bibles and pray, and seek my face, and listen to me. No, instead it's like, it's so important that I let you know, Pat Robertson, that Donald Trump is going to be the president again. Oh, thank you. Okay, well that'll help everybody out, and it won't help anybody. That doesn't fix anything.
No. And I think what a lot of people don't know about these prophets or these churches, these self-proclaimed prophets, is that they actually have schools, or they try to teach other people how to be prophets. And it's,
Is that something
if
that
you
can
look
be
in the
taught?
Word. Well, no. Well, people try to say, well, like preaching, preaching can be taught. People go to school to learn how to be a better preacher. But listen, whether it's preaching or prophecy, it's still a calling and a gift. And yes, you can hone those skills and learn, but you can't just teach anybody. But these prophets, they're teaching everybody how to do it. And one of the strangest things is one of the ways they teach them is they put them in a room and they tell them to close their eyes, and they say, all right, now think about the person next to you and ask God to tell you something about like their life, like, 20 years ago, or where they lived, or where they grew up, or what street they lived on. Like, ask God to help you see that kind of stuff. And I'm like, to me, that's just testing the Lord. I think we're
mixing up the word prophet and divination. So a prophet,
I would agree.
A prophet really was somebody who just shared the gospel and spoke of the word of Christ. And, with that came prophecies, but those are not divinations.
Right.
Those were the word of God, spoke to someone in a dream or a whatever, and then you repeated it.
Right.
It's not a crystal ball.
Yeah, I would, to be honest, especially in today's culture, I would much rather read Isaiah 11 or Isaiah 58, or I'd much rather read Zechariah 13 than listen to these guys saying that they heard from the Lord and prophesied, because I know the Bible is clear and true, but I'm kind of over this whole, not that I ever bought into the prophecy thing, but to be honest, it was intriguing for a while, because I'm like, okay, God does still speak through people, and I think he does, but most of the stuff we're seeing, I think, is just a ploy for popularity or something.
I think he does too. I don't think you're gonna know when it's happening. Like,
You mean the prophet?
If he's speaking to someone through you, you don't know what's happening. It just sounds like you. But that person is getting what they need from Christ through you because you've allowed Christ to fill your life and shine from you.
Right.
But you're not going to be like, grab their wrist and say, "Sweetie, I have a message from the Lord for you today." I don't think that's happening.
Right. I hear you. And that would go back to the whole word of knowledge thing that some people, take from Corinthians, and one of the gifts would be a word of knowledge. And I don't, again, like you said, and I just mentioned, and you said you agree that it can happen, but I think that it's not something that just happens all the time. And I think the Lord is very selective when he does things like that. I don't think it's just general. Like, I could come up to anybody and say, "The Lord told me that he loves you." Well,
Right.
what I could read the whole Bible and tell people that the Lord loves them.
Yeah. That's
How's
the sky is blue.
It's just, to me, it's crazy. And I have good friends that, believe this stuff. And I'm not, cutting on anybody, but I don't, it's just kind of crazy to me.
Well, all right. So I want this to work out. I want Donald Trump to be put back as president for 4 more years. I'm hoping that the truth comes out, whatever that may be. If we lost, we lost. Okay. But if there was foul play and 400,000 votes dumped off in the middle of the night by a truck in the middle of Detroit, I think we should know that too. So it becomes just sitting and waiting and being patient. And I think it's just very easy to want to comfort people and comfort yourself and tell if this is what the outcome that you really want, because you really feel like, there's a group of people that really think that if Biden gets in, he's going to fix it over there. And there's a group of people that think if Trump gets in, he's really going to fix it over here. And they're going to change things. And I think that one side is definitely evil and one side still trying to be good. I think there's real consequences to the outcome, but that isn't where our hope should lie. And that's where it's very tempting to speak positively and then get that confused with "the Lord told me." And I think that's where we go. Like, I want those things. Like, that'd be awesome. If we could just listen to somebody, we wouldn't have to talk about it anymore. Really?
Yeah. Right.
As for sure as God is, if he gave that prophecy to that many people, which really only one would do, and we could trust it, we shouldn't have to talk about this anymore. It'll just happen.
Yeah, I agree. And you know what is interesting too, that when you do a president prophecy, you got a 50-50 shot of making that thing right.
Right. Which is pretty good odds. Like, that's pretty good. That's gambling
really
time.
Good odds.
Yeah.
Oh man, big time. You definitely put up 10 grand for that, and slot machines or whatever.
You got a good shot of winning.
Yeah. So I don't know if you want to go on any more with that, but I had one other thought I wanted to throw out today.
Was it the Hallmark thing? Because I'm trying to get there.
Yeah. Well, I'll let you go there then. And the prophecy thing too, just a little more. Like, I've been watching as far as prophecy, even bigger than the president of the United States. I've been watching the Middle East stuff, and I got a hold of a couple TV places. I think it's called TV7 Israel or something like that. And they usually have just updated stuff of what's going on in Israel. And so I've been trying to watch what's going on in Israel. And, the peace agreement stuff is still continuing. Obviously, Trump is still in office. Some people say that might stop if Biden gets in there. But Saudi Arabia just recently, the head, what do you call him? Not a sheikh, but the premier. I don't know what the name is. The Saudi Arabian government, the head guy, is he called the president? I can't remember now.
No, I don't know.
Or,
a sheikh is a religious leader. I don't know what they call the head dude in Saudi Arabia.
all right. Well, all I can tell you is that the guy with the white thing on top of his head, it's like a cave.
Their president, Saudi Arabia's president.
Yeah, something like that. He met, one of the big guys met with Netanyahu just a couple days ago.
Yes.
And they said they don't have anything for sure yet, but there's some developments. So that's interesting. I think that's interesting stuff.
I think it's all very interesting that our Hitler-like bigoted president has done something that they've been saying they were going to do since Reagan, since Carter, and 3 years and 7/8 into office, we've got peace coming in the Middle East.
Yeah, right. Right.
And I don't know. I think if we do get a Biden administration, it would be my opinion, war's back on. Turn on those bullet making machines. We're gonna need them.
That's what I've heard. I also thought it was interesting that because I watch all media outlets. I watch CNN stuff. I watch ABC and MSNBC. I watch a little bit of Fox here and there, and then I've been watching Now. I think it's called Now Fox, which is I think a more local conservative branch. And then I've been watching Newsmax, and then
Everybody's
I
on
watch
the
OA.
Newsmax.
So, did you happen to see that the regular broadcast stations like your CNN, ABC, at least I think so, they explained that Trump had a press conference yesterday telling everybody Happy Thanksgiving, but then instead of them playing any of his discussion on the evidence that is going on with the thing, they just made a blanket statement that he's making erroneous claims that there's fraud and no proof. And yet, yes, I think it was Wednesday, Lindsey Powell submitted 104 affidavits or claims that she's suing Dominion and what's the other one?
So the mainstream media line is, these are baseless claims. There's no evidence of foul play whatsoever. Perish the thought. But yet Sidney Powell and the Trump legal team and a lot of other, there's more coming out of the woodwork as the day goes by, filing lawsuits with state courts to figure out what went on and what happened. And I think they're up to 500 sworn affidavits of problems. I mean, 500 people in 10 cities. That's nothing to frown at or to brush aside.
No.
These are the same people. These are the same people when Hillary lost. They cried Russia foul play for 3 years, and that our elections were easily influenced. We were influenced from the internet to Facebook to the voting machines. Russia for 3.5 years. And then this year, no. Everything's legit, dude. What are you looking at? That's where we are.
Yeah.
You got to go to these alternate news sources.
Right. I just think it's a shame that people, it doesn't matter what side you're on. I just think it's a shame that people can't just handle the truth. They can't just deal with it. Like, like what you said a little bit ago. Hey, if Biden won, okay, fine. We'll deal with that. But if not, then let's follow the paper trail and just at least see where it leads.
Right.
And what's really great too, is that from my understanding, not one building has been burned, and I don't think there's been any real problems, from my understanding, with any of the protests or the marches that have been happening. Am I right or wrong? Has there been any
No.
kind of conflicts or anything going on with protests?
But the conflicts that do occur are left-leaning individuals who are trying to cause problems. I've seen, Trump supporters and Trump people, conservative people, pushed over, beat up, whacked in the head, pushed to the ground, stomped on, stuff thrown at them, fireworks put into crowds.
It's
if
just so
there-
messed up.
If there was a conservative individual or Trump supporter, let's say, put a firework into some liberal crowd that was having a pro-abortion rally, you would hear about it for weeks. That guy would be all over the news. We would try him publicly on television and make sure that while his body's burning, we were roasting marshmallows over it.
Right.
When this occurs, when we don't, I hate to say we, when the conservative side isn't lighting towns on fire, and they're just peacefully standing in the streets going, "Hey, can we count this? Can we just relook at it?" Which happened with Gore. It happens in a lot of elections. Geauga County trustee, 2004 for Parkman. My dad won by a coin flip.
Really?
There was a recount. It was a tie. There was a tie, a recount, a tie, and my dad won Parkman trustee by a coin flip. So this happens this stuff happens all the time. So if we can't, I think what you were driving at, if we can't be adults and just wait, this is the most I've talked about it, other than with some family at holidays and stuff. I'm not driving around yelling things. I'm not whatever. I'm just waiting. And if we can't let both sides be shown and act like adults, then yeah, I think we have a real problem.
Yeah, I agree. You got that other article pulled up, Matt?
I do. And I love this because this is going to dig into one of your holiday favorites that you like to promote.
I know. I'm boycotting now.
I'm gonna you just now.
I did. I told April last night. I said I'm gonna have to boycott now. I'm not gonna pay the $6.99 a month now for Friendly to watch Hallmark.
Awesome.
So this is, I don't know when this airs. Does it say when it airs?
Sorry, I used the cough button. That worked out good.
Oh, okay. Does it say on the article when it airs? I can't.
This article came out November 25th, 2020. Yeah, you can't really read it. I wonder. Can you?
Well, I think it airs. I think it airs this December, and it's the first LGBTQ Hallmark movie or episode or whatever they call it, movie, I guess. And the one guy in it is actually gay. I don't know if the other actor is or not that's playing his partner or however that works. Now, I know this is probably going to sound, what do you call it? This is going to sound intolerant, or it's going to sound like I hate, gay people or LGBTQ community, but I really don't. I have nephews who are practicing homosexuals. I know other people that are homosexuals as well, and I love them. I care about them. But I just don't get why it's wrong for a company, an organization, a church to stand up and say that something is wrong. And just because society doesn't believe it, now all of a sudden we have to cater to all that. And everybody now has to have at least, one show or two shows or a commercial with, people that are gay or homosexual, because that's just the way our world is today. Now, some people have compared it to skin color. So, for instance, you see a lot of shows with white people and hardly any black people. So now all of a sudden, you got to have more shows with more black people, or a mix of black and white people, or commercials, that have more black people and Asian Americans and African Americans, whatever kind of terms you use. I never know what kind of terms to use anymore, because someone will be mad at me if I don't use brown or the right term. But so if you don't have a different skin color of people, or enough of them, then people get upset because you're, racist or prejudiced. I just don't know where our country has come, where I can't believe, as an organization, I can't believe that something's wrong and not be pushed into a corner that says, unless you do this, you're not going to be able to have an organization anymore.
Pushing the official agenda, as it were.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But
if
that's
you're going to be,
you're describing the mainstream media, the official propagandists. Okay, and I've been thinking about this. Did you notice the echo's gone? I had an echo. Now it's gone.
You did have an echo. I told you that. What happened? What did you get? Did you fix it?
I had the audio on for the game capture, so I was getting the camera audio on top of it.
That was my issue when I did I actually did my Choose the Way on Tuesday.
Yeah.
I did the whole 16-minute shot, and then I went back and listened to it real quick, and there was a huge echo, so I had to redo the whole thing because I realized that okay. Sorry about that.
Okay, so that's what I did. No, it's okay. It's all right. I figured it out. So it just is now that homosexuality is okay. It's just the way that it is. And again, much like figuring out the votes, like, okay, we're watching the tally, and I'm being a big boy, and I'm sitting here and waiting. I've gone through all the thought processes. Let's just be honest. Let's not even say 15, 20 years ago. 20 years ago, it was not accepted. The homosexual was in the closet. That was a term for a reason. Now, I think that it would be argued it was because the homosexual was afraid to get beat up, ostracized, made fun of, all degraded, whatever. That was why they had to stay in the closet, right?
Which in some instances was a true reality for some people, not everyone.
Undeniably, and I would say that it was more verbal. I know that you had the Matthew Shepards, and you had there were cases of severe harm done to certain people because of their thoughts and how they leaned in this way, which are completely wrong and deplorable. Like, murder is wrong, right?
Yeah.
At the same time, I think what that community denies is there still was a consciousness, an understanding, a thing inside you that said, this isn't right. And so you had a hesitance to not do it, or you had a hesitance to hide it. We all inside hide sin when we know it's not right. When we know we're doing what we shouldn't be doing, whether you know it or not, you're hiding it, right? And it's only been the last 15 years that veil's been ripped off. we now have to accept. Think if you remember the men's groups that we had down at the community house, where it was like, okay, so why aren't we stringing them up? Like that was still a thought, and you have to reason in your head. You have to go, okay, I'm that person. We're letting a new way of life be normalized, but it's sinful, and it's no different than if I were a habitual shoplifter going to church, a habitual, adulterer, liar, blasphemer, any sin that is in. They're no different than me. I have sin in my life. You have sin in your life. This is the sin in their life. So we have to go, there is no sin greater than another. And as long as you're working through your sin, please come be a part of the body of Christ. Do you know where I'm kind of trying to go with that?
Yeah, and I don't have a problem with that. The problem I have is that we are glamorizing.
It's a totally different thing that it becomes an agenda.
Yeah. And when I say I don't have a problem, I'm not saying I don't have a problem with homosexuality because I believe it is a sin. But my problem rests in someone who has bought into the lie that they can be a follower of Jesus and continue to habitually live in a sinful way. That's like telling me that I'm allowed to continue and never to fight it. I'm allowed to continually have adulterous thoughts for the rest of my marriage. And God still loves me, and he's still going to take me to heaven because I gave my heart to Jesus, or I believe that Jesus died for my sins. Well, Jesus didn't just die for your sins. He died to free you from your sins. And so my habitual adulterous thoughts need to be gone. And that doesn't mean I might not have a process of getting rid of that, but it needs to be done. It needs to be finished in my life. And I understand too. Go ahead.
No, you go finish your thought.
Well, I also understand too that the argument from the homosexual side or the LGBTQ community is that this is not their choice. They were born this way. But I also would like to argue that I was born with adulterous behaviors. I was born with a heart that was crooked. And once I was introduced to females, I didn't want just one. It's like a Lay's potato chip.
Right.
I
think that's Doritos. Crunch all you want, we'll make more.
Oh, okay. That's it. Is that what that is? Yeah.
Yeah. So, exactly.
Go ahead.
So once, so thinking about this, this week, one step further yet, okay? And I think this goes to, I've been trying to put this together in my mind for about 3 weeks. This goes together with the original sin at the garden, and they realized that they were naked, right?
Right.
You can't unrealize that you're naked. You will forever know when you're naked or not naked.
Right.
And we seem to be going through this unveiling, unwrapping, and okaying of so many different sins that you really have to ask yourself, what then makes me a follower of Christ? Because
right.
I'm just doing what I want and then telling everybody it's okay. Be it eating too much.
Right.
Right?
Right.
Be it anything that we do for our pleasure.
Right.
So that's what makes this kind of difficult. And then once we let that in, we justify it, and it's very hard to get it out.
Yeah.
And if we aren't working on those things, and this is where it really comes down to only God knows the heart of the man. Because none of us should sit in the sanctuary on Sunday if we were going to point fingers at each other and be each other's judges.
Right.
God knows the heart of the man, and so it's okay. Like, this is what I think is funny. So in this progressive road of sin that gives you more and more and more, you can't unsee you're naked. And I always thought this was funny. I was going to rag on you about your Hallmark Channel watching habits. When you watch a Hallmark movie, the traditional one, it's I'm divorced, you're divorced, I'm come back to my parents' house to find myself, you're a bootmaker who's looking to start a new boot line, and you're hot and sexy with a gorgeous beard. We run into each other at Christmas days while singing around the Yule tree, and we fall in love, and we live together now. That's a Hallmark movie. That's right.
You watched night? You watched that one too last night? You watched that one last night?
No, it's all of them. They're all the same. She's a lawyer. He hangs apples in his garage and sells dried apples. But I mean, they're promoting. They're already promoting in that. What's up, Manny? They're already promoting in that several sinful lifestyles. But you were okay with it because there was no nudity and there weren't any gay people. And now that they've thrust two men, he's a lawyer from the big city who's trying to find himself, and he's now in love with the handmade Swiss watchmaker in town. You're like, whoa, you're messing with my Hallmark, dude. You're messing with my Hallmark.
Yeah, you know what? You are revealing my hypocrisy. You are. I agree. And I struggle with this I've struggled with this forever since I've been a believer, because I'm like, where do I draw the line? Because 99.9% of the things we watch, even G-rated stuff,
you can't watch it.
It has its issues, right?
Yeah.
So I said that kind of jokingly. I'm probably not going to boycott Hallmark, because then I would have to boycott hospitals and doctors, because the person that might work on me to save my life might also be okay with abortion and that kind of stuff. So I understand I live in a fallen world, and I understand I'm supposed to live in it and be of it. It bugs me that organizations, like, is the church going to be next? I mean, it already is in some denominations, but is the entire church going to be next, where we're going to be told that unless we succumb to this, unless we approve of this, we can't exist?
Well, I think that happens as a front. Like, it's a whole frontal attack. It's everything from John MacArthur out there in California saying, you're not going to close down our church. We're going to continue to go. We have decided as a corporate body that this will not affect us, and we will go to church. And the state shutting it down. To now, if you say, all right, make your LGBTQ Hallmark movie, but I think that's sinful life. But of course, I think the divorce lady showing up from out of nowhere and marrying a guy in town out of nowhere has its questionable points too. Yeah, let things be entertainment. Watch them or don't watch them as you choose. But why do I have to, This is being pushed out there as this has to be acceptable. You will accept this, and that's the problem. And then on top of that, the other front is they literally are then going after the church now. You know, what's really interesting, this COVID thing is really becoming an excuse for a lot of agendas. It's amazing how it's wrapping its fingers into. So I don't know if you heard recently that they're saying that it's leading to a mental issue. Like COVID is causing people to have mental problems. So
I would guess so. April just made a comment. She said like every commercial now is all about mental health and
well,
all that
all right. So if we're all mentally ill, and they've been pushing this for a long time too. But if we're all mentally ill, you shouldn't have a firearm. Did you have the COVID? Did you have the COVID? Oh, you did? Well, we know that leads to some mental issues. We're going to need your guns. I mean, this is where these things start to go.
Yeah. I've never had it. COVID.
I haven't either.
Can I just say this, though? I'm mentally ill, whether I had COVID or not.
Listen, can I just say this? When I got to church, I found the 7th generation wipes and sanitized everything behind this counter.
Did you really? I'm proud of you, Matt.
I'm not
You're
stupid.
starting to become one of us.
I'm not
starting
stupid.
to become one of us.
I don't want it for a 5th time.
Yeah, right. Oh, man. Well, I just want to put out 2 quick things, maybe towards the end here, because it's time to probably leave. But real quick, there's been something circulating, and I looked it up, and Reuters, which I don't know you can believe them or not, USA Today has an article on it. But some people have been saying that the LGBTQ community wants to add P, which stands for pedophilia, to their little acronym.
Who didn't see this coming?
It appears, though, that that's false.
That
at
is
least
false.
It's false right now. It appears to be false, at least for now. But again, here's the thing: like whether it is or not, the organization running that doesn't mean that all homosexuals are okay with pedophilia either. So that's where you gotta, like, as a Christian at least, maybe not as a human being, you should as a human being, but you can't stereotype people because of organizations. It's the same way with the church. People shouldn't stereotype me because I believe that homosexuality is wrong with all of the homophobic people.
People shouldn't stereotype me that because I like Donald Trump, I like big trucks and camo gear, and I want to shoot, certain people groups. We all do it.
Exactly.
We all do this.
Yeah. Right. So whether LGBTQ eventually does come out as an organization and says, yeah, we're going to add P, it doesn't mean that all the people that are, that label themselves as one of those letters agree with pedophilia. But as of right now, it says that that's a false statement. The second thing, real quick, before we go, I want to give people some hope, and maybe just because so many people, everything you see on TV is scaring people out of their mind about if they get COVID, they could die. I want to read this. It's from the BMJ website. It's featuring coronavirus. This actually was from back in September, but I don't know that anybody talks about it or talked about it. It says here, COVID-19, do many people have pre-existing immunity? It says in this article, it seemed a truth universally acknowledged that the human population had no pre-existing immunity to SARS-CoV-2, but is that actually the case? Peter Doshai explores the emerging research on immunological responses. And so without the whole article, it's called the memory T cell. And this article says that anywhere from 20 to 50% in certain studies, at least 6 studies have reported T cell reactivity against SARS-CoV-2 in 20% to 50% of people with no known exposure to the virus. Meaning that some people, because they had maybe a strand of a COVID virus or a coronavirus in the past, may already have memory T cells or immunity to the virus. So when they get it, it won't be as bad at all to them as well. So there's a huge part of the population that may very well have immune responses to this, and it's not as serious for them. So I guess just a bit of like hope for people that, like, for some reason we all think that our body doesn't know what to do with the disease, and technically this disease is a different strain, but our bodies are still pretty, like, God still made our bodies pretty powerful, and they still know how to respond to the disease that comes in. Granted, I understand some people don't respond as well to it, and some people actually die from it. Some people get really sick and recover and have symptoms afterwards. I get all that. But I think it's important that people would know that it's not a death sentence, that's for sure.
Well, I mean, if you can't reason through the statistics that 80% of
Real quick.
people...
Real quick, Matt, you got to mute the camera again. You're
No.
echoing.
It did do that by itself.
We'll fix that. Yeah, we'll fix that. I got to find a way to balance it.
So, like 80% of the people who get this, they don't even know it's a thing. It's a sniffle, it's a cough, it passes. It comes and goes. It's a little cold if you notice it at all. So that's 80% of the world population. Then the other 19.4% are going to have difficulties ranging from laying in bed for 14 days, 10 to 14 days, to needing to go to the hospital and needing treatment, to, the 0.6% that die. And of that, 80% of those are over 75. Like, if you can't do this math in your head, and you're gonna let the TV, this is the thing that is driving me nuts. Personal editorial opinion.
Right.
If you're gonna let the TV tell you to live in fear, then you've got some self-analyzing to do with what's going on with your soul.
Right. The other thing too, just real quick, another couple spots on this this article. The research offers a powerful reminder that very little in immunology is cut and dried. Physiological responses may have fewer sharp distinctions than in the popular imagination. Exposure does not necessarily lead to infection.
Right.
Infection does not necessarily lead to disease, and disease does not necessarily produce detectable antibodies. And within the body, the roles of various immune system components are complex and interconnected. So, whatever side you're on, everybody tries to act as if it's just simple and basic, like this is what you should do, but
this is what's going to happen.
Yeah, but ultimately we don't really know.
No.
So
okay. Yeah, and that's everybody's looking towards the vaccine, wouldn't it be something? Well, here's the thing that boggles my mind. The TV says how many people have cases. The cases are going up. And the TV says how many people are in the hospital struggling. But, they never show any statistics of year to year. So we would expect this many people to be in the hospital from the flu and respiratory illnesses ranging from SARS-1 to H1N1. They used to do all that stuff. They used to put all those statistics out of how many people are going to be in the hospital when the cold comes around in November. Mm-hmm. Nobody's showing you that now. Why?
That's because it's completely gone, they say.
The flu and H1N1?
Yes, it is. I've read reports and seen reports where it is gone, and these immunologists believe that the reason it's gone is because we're washing our hands and we're wearing masks. So the flu has pretty much a done deal now.
That sounds hinky to me.
It sounds very hinky, but I'm just saying that's what people have said.
Okay, listen. All right. I can't even. I really can't.
Yeah, I mean, and I don't want to get us on the topic because the topic's been beat with like a dead horse or whatever. I just wanted to show that because I thought it was interesting. I saw a doctor talking about the memory T cells, so I looked it up to see what was up with them, and I found this report, and I thought, Well, that's really interesting, and nobody really talks about the fact that our body's pretty wonderfully made.
Like it has an
The
immune
psalmist
system?
said. Yeah, it's fearfully and wonderfully made, and the body seems to know what to do. And I get it. In right now, 250 some thousand cases, people have died. We don't know exactly how inflated that number is, but there are some people that die from this and they die from flu. But for the most part, the body is pretty good with disease.
I would like to just know the statistical age breakout of that. Like,
Yeah.
let's
I hear what
do
you're
that
saying.
number. Like the math,
Yeah.
the math is insurmountable on what it becomes to me, because more editorializing. I was very disappointed when our toad-faced governor really
Oh,
hammered
April's
down
not
on
gonna like that.
Yeah, well,
really
I get
hammered
it.
down on the mask thing again. He's a toad face. When when he hammered down on this mask thing, and instead of people going, listen, people have been wearing masks. How is it getting worse? Everybody put a mask on and went with it. And really where I'm at is like, if the people aren't going to throw this off their backs and they want to live in this fear, then they're going to take me down with them. That's where we are. It just is what it is. I have to go into a store now with a mask or they won't ring me out.
Right.
And it's like, okay, I guess I'll wear the beast on my face. Sounds good.
Well, it's good that you're submitting to authority.
I
man.
submitted. Yeah. I got no choice. I have to buy my flavored pop.
Oh, that's cool. Make sure it has quinine in it.
That sometimes it does. Sometimes it does.
Okay. All right, that's good. That's good.
I mix it with my medicine.
And your medicine is?
The usual stuff.
Okay, all right, I gotcha. Well, listen, I just want to say too that in reference to memory T cells, there is a vitamin that I swear by, and our family does this as soon as we start getting sick. And we kind of caught a little something on Tuesday or whatever, Wednesday. But we started overdosing on vitamin C powder. We just buy the vitamin C in powder and then we take it in water or whatever. April just throws the powder in her mouth and like it's disgusting. But it's straight ascorbic acid, so straight vitamin C. And we do like, I don't know, 1,000 milligrams like every hour or depending on what it is. And I'm telling you, I really believe in the benefits of vitamin C overdosing, especially when you get sick, because I really think it helps with recovery. That's just my opinion on it. Just my thought on it.
You get the corn. Is it the corn-based C?
I researched that. I do get one that's organic, and it's supposedly made from non-GMO materials. But let's face it, if they're making ascorbic acid from corn, I don't know that there's any corn out there that hasn't been somewhat messed with.
Yeah, you're not doing it.
Yeah.
No, we do the vitamin C as well. Also do the what's the other one? It comes
Zinc
in
and vitamin D.
Zinc. It comes in, and you can find that in the berry, elderberry.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to be careful with zinc. You can take too much zinc.
Right. If your tongue starts to feel like you're tasting metal, you've taken too much zinc.
Is this personal experience?
I'm not saying I've ever experienced that. I'm just saying.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right. So we're gonna wrap this deal up then.
I think so.
Well,
Been
this
a
worked out
good
good.
day.
It's been a ton of fun. Are you taking
Maybe one
Sunday
day we'll
off?
be able to. I think I may stay home Sunday just for the benefit of everybody else, so I don't freak anybody out. I mean, I don't think we had anything. I mean, just just the aches, the chills, headache for a couple days, a little bit of congestion, dry cough, but
Do you still
so those
taste
are all
and smell
symptoms.
things?
Yeah, I can still taste and smell things. Although my
I don't
taste,
think you had it.
my taste was a little weird, but I think it was from the zinc maybe because I did take an extra zinc one day. So it tasted
So
a
you're
little
recanting
mellowy.
you're recanting your previous statement then.
Well, my previous statement was a little bit facetious. I was kind of making a joke there.
All right. Well,
So,
you guys get well and get rested up, and we'll pull Sunday off without you, and we'll see you the Sunday after.
all right. Well, maybe this is a good opportunity for you guys to start doing a new pastor search. What do you think, as a board?
Are you making this official announcement now?
Well, I've been gone for 2 weeks. I mean, what's going to happen, right? The church can't manage much longer, can they?
No, I think we did all right.
I think you did all right too. April says you got kids. You got to take
Yes.
the kids.
I have to take the kids. I don't think.
Yeah.
We'll find someone else.
Yeah, we will. We'll try to find somebody. Hey,
All right. Go ahead.
No, I was going to ask you how Zia was, but April said she would just text Corey.
Oh, yeah. My kids are always in and out of some state of sniffles and whatever. Zia's doing better, though. The rash thing seems to be gone. So, time to get back out there in the public and try and pick up some other critter.
Yeah, right. That's what makes you strong.
It is. It's the immunity thing.
Yeah. What's the old saying? If it doesn't kill you, it makes you stronger, right?
Makes you stronger.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, Malcolm.
You have a great week, and you all out there have a great week, and hopefully see you next week. And we'll talk to you later.
All right. Thanks, Matt.